45, good luck. You know what I mean? But yeah, what was that ultimate view? Yeah, I've heard about that, mate. Yeah.
They're a Victorian thing, but they're going everywhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah, gotcha. But yeah, with that.
Ultimate year.
Right.
They run the 96, they've got a green logo. They pump out people that just do the 6-week jump.
1,200 calories.
Yeah, right.
Standardised plan for guys and girls.
Yeah, right.
Really?
So go standard
I did
right.
not
The
know.
guys are eating like 1,500 calories.
Crazy. That's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, with that, so with them, I reckon get them to actually buy in and do it in a group setting. That's how you get through them hard out. If you get people to do things in a group, they're going to be like way more, way more likely to buy in. Cool. With that too, group. Remember why they're here. Most people, well, all of your guys, by the sound of things, hate their lives. They hate the people they're around. They hate what they're doing. They probably like you because you talk to them about them, right? Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah.
That's what I like that. I've got a lot of, from my experience of being around a lot of PTs, most PTs will say that their clients will talk to the PT about stuff they won't talk to their missus or their wife or their husband about.
Yeah.
Right?
There's some pretty heavy shit on you.
Yeah, they do. And that's it. You're a life coach. You're not just a PT. You've got to get good at this stuff.
We get
And-
touch on that in a second.
If you become.
With that, I'm going to say, like, get them into a community, right? None of these people have got any form of community at all. Well, they feel they don't. They've got no one around them. A lot of the time, you look at their home life. Their home life fucking sucks. Let's be honest. If we had their home lives, we'd be like, fuck this, I'm out, go bang, just jet off, not be here, alright? With that, give them something. I reckon if you have some sort of community thing, I don't know what you guys can do. Like, that's obviously more of an admin thing. I don't know what you PTs can do. That's up to you. But give them more community and stuff to be around people with, right? And surround themselves with a positive.
We've got that whole fence coming. We did like relay for life rates for $5.5 grand.
That's awesome.
So that sort of stuff.
That's awesome.
We just pump that around to all the members, emails, all that sort of stuff.
They clearly love it.
They do. We have we've got a movie night coming up where everyone brings some food and that sort of stuff. Family day, jumping castles and face painters.
That's it.
I think what they're trying to get at is like actually have like a directed group setting where it's like
Every week, not just one off. It's like, this is what we do. Besides from just training, it's actually like a community vibe, I think.
Look, that's up to you guys. I'm not going to tell you how to run your business. You're already killing it, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are all smashing it this 1 year. But I think that in a way to get that, people actually talking about the good stuff that they're doing and getting those other people who are really struggling, who you can save, to stop from, saying that they're so limited. I think that's the biggest thing by far. Get them out of their place of them feeling sorry for themselves and to see people who are like actually way worse than them.
Yeah.
Okay? So yeah, I'll leave that one with you guys. Cool? Alright, let's move on from here. Do we have any other questions or any other areas we want to go to?
What do you want to know, Tony? Tony's young powerlifter.
Oh yeah. What's
How
his
much do you
split?
lift?
Huh?
How much do you weigh? Sorry?
Enough. 100?
Oh, okay. You're a lot stronger than me now.
That's his question.
Mate, that was possibly the most intimidating question I've ever been asked in my life.
If he's 70 kilos and he lifts more than you, then
So just squared up to him a little bit as well. Like, how much you bench, man? Sorry?
What's your
What?
question?
Oh,
That was
Sorry.
it.
Yeah, that's
That was
it.
What do you lift, bro?
yeah.
Tony does over 200. What do you weigh now?
70. I was 69.9.
3 times.
That's awesome, bro.
Thank you.
Solid lift, man. What, squat or deadlift?
Deadlift.
Yeah,
So 2
nice.
times.
That's legit,
Super
bro.
conventional.
Conventional, obviously.
Ah,
Nice.
oh, down at the cheetah.
Yes! I'm gonna start keep pulling up as well, like this guy over here. Like, oh man! Why'd you have to bring that up?
That's good, bro. No questions?
Okay. Can't reach.
man, I would pick your brain about like sleep for the next hour.
Well, let's do it then. Let's just chat sleep, okay? The easiest things you can do for sleep are pretty much all covered. Sunlight exposure, reducing your blue light, and then making sure that you're supplemented correctly. In terms of what supplements you can take to sleep, anything that will knock you out. Now you need to remember how like rubbed it off. How the nervous system and the nerves work. Okay. So I draw this back up again. All right. So you've got the vesicle with the neurotransmitters in it. All right. You've got the postsynaptic neuron just here. Sorry, which means the downstream one where you're sending the neurotransmitters to. Right. And you've got all these receptors. Okay. I'm just going to do one line for them, so you know what that means. All right. So we're supplementing with neurotransmitters. So what happens when you give yourself super physiological levels of any hormone or neurohormone?
Wouldn't that just like fuck something up?
Reduces your own production or has like a feedback response. You guys familiar with negative feedback loops? Right? What's a negative feedback loop?
You're gonna have to re-explain it.
Yeah? You got that one, do you?
Yeah, so if you take something externally, it stops your body's own production of it.
Yeah, it shuts it off.
Yeah.
It comes back around and inhibits your own production. Okay? So with that, you can supplement all these things, but what they may do is it may reduce your own either production or the receptor on the downstream end. Okay? Generally it's this. With neurotransmitters, there's no real known way where you actually turn off your own production of neurotransmitters, but it just means you will have less receptors. Can you see how that would be an issue? Right? Because you may have the same amount of neurotransmitters, but that doesn't matter. The amount of neurotransmitters you have at the end of the day, well, once you've reached saturation, like the total amount of neurotransmitter that you need in order to have an effect, above that it doesn't really do anything. But what happens is with this is if you have too many, you actually reduce the number of receptors here. And with the receptors, the whole purpose, the whole way this works is that the receptor is bound to and it's activated. Okay, so as soon as the receptor is activated, that means that it can then have its effect on the body and then continue down its path. Alright? So you need to make sure that you're not ridding yourself of all these receptors. So if you just go in and you just take like grams and grams and grams and grams and grams of sleep supplements, what's going to happen is you're going to desensitize your receptors. So you're going to have less of these receptors, or they're going to be unable to be bound to by the neurotransmitter. Does that make sense? So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you're supplementing correctly with these and using the right ones. So for example, there is a relationship between serotonin and GABA receptors, right? If you have inadequate serotonin and your serotonin receptors are not being activated properly, you will not have the right amount or right type of GABA receptors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can't just go in and throw in a whole heap of GABA, right? Because you may have an imbalance in your serotonin and it's not going to work properly.
Yeah.
Cool? So you need to make sure that you're supplementing across the board with neurotransmitters. Right? If you're going to do it and you're deficient, which you quite clearly are because there's something wrong because you're not sleeping, right? You need to make sure you're supplementing across the board. So with that, what you've got to do is you've got to look at stuff like 5-HTP. So although that can't cross the blood-brain barrier, I still am a big fan of it. 5-HTP or even tryptophan, right?
Yeah.
Two things. They boost up serotonin. You've also got inositol, right? So inositol comes in and it works downstream just here. So inositol is what we call the second messenger, right? Which goes down here. Who's heard of a second messenger? Right, so I know we're going a little bit biochemy here. I won't go too deep into that stuff.
I keep doing it.
But what we've got here is we've got the receptor, right? So this is the first messenger here. Neurotransmitter to receptor, and then it goes receptor to second messenger, and then it begins what's called a cascade, where it sends out all these other different messages, right? Throughout the body. Cool? So, the inositol works down here at this level and also up here at this level too. So it works on both, it's involved in both parts. I think for you, man, look straight out, and with your clients as well, these are pretty stock standard. 5-HTP, which is the precursor to serotonin, the direct one, tryptophan, a small amount of GABA, theanine, melatonin, plus B6. The melatonin with B6, it works way, way better. That's what I recommend you start off with, okay? Now, if you or any of your clients take SSRIs or SNRIs, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't have the 5-HTP or the tryptophan, okay? That can really, really mess with your meds. Antipsychotics like lithium, stuff like that as well, you've got to be really, really careful with, okay?
Where would you find like a supplementing protocol, I guess? It's like,
Well, he's got one.
yeah,
Send it to us.
Yeah. What, the whole protocol for it?
as in
in
like
terms of-
the dosages and shit.
Bro, like, yeah, the book won't give you that, man. That's the thing. It'll give you like rough. These are really hard, man, because there are so many different like variables. So when we sign up a client, we've got 187 questions we ask them to begin with, okay? And each of those changes, like how much we use, and then we also monitor it on top of that. A really general dosing guide would be average woman's 50 to 70 kilos, right? That's what you're dealing with here, 50 to 70 kilos. So up.
Yeah.
82 up.
Right. I don't have much experience with women. Like I've got a little bit, but not a whole heap. They generally do. Oh,
These are like people that don't get their periods and shit.
what's that?
They like don't get their periods and stuff.
Right.
70 to
Pretty
110.
So they're old, or they're just that big.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Jesus. Fuck. How do you get to that stage?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Cool. Fuck, man.
It's like, man, I'm out of here.
It's really simple. They put on a kilo every 6 months over
It's
a
not hard to
20-year
do.
period.
That is hard to do.
A kilo every 6 months over 20 years. It's
That-
consistent. That's what it is.
Yeah. Is that why they say that it creeps on?
Yeah. Yeah, people just-
Like, there's got to be that point where you look at yourself and go, fuck.
20 years old.
Before we get off on a tangent, maybe talk about adrenal fatigue. Too much
Bullshit.
Is that
Too much
Adrenal fatigue
What
is
about
fucking bullshit.
Too much caffeine. Like
Too much
sometimes
caffeine, yeah,
6
definitely.
coffees a day.
Alright, that's just like crazy. So remember how we were talking before about when adrenaline goes up, GABA goes down? That's what's happening there. So you're having all that stuff. Your adrenaline is constantly up. So imagine you were drunk, right, for like 2 days straight. And of course we've never done that. We've never been on benders, guys. So imagine you're drunk for 2 days straight. By the end of that, after about a day and a bit in, it's normal. It's like you're just used to being drunk. This is what it is. And it's not till you come out of that, you're like, whoa, I was fucked up that time. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with being like so like driven on adrenaline. You are constantly elevated all the time. You don't know any different whatsoever. That's just all you're functioning on. You are running on fumes. Cool? So that's what's happening there with excessive caffeine intake. Adrenal fatigue is bullshit, but I'll talk about that in a sec. With excessive caffeine, that's what's happening. You have literally zero GABA. These people don't sleep at all. Do any of you know the importance of sleep and what it does?
Muscle repair.
Yeah, it does that. The two main things that sleep does is it cleaves adenosine off dopamine receptors. So this receptor here in your brain, imagine, right? So adenosine, you know ATP, yeah? Adenosine triphosphate, adenosine from that, right? What it does is it comes in and just blocks over that. So nothing can get in, right? So your dopamine can't get into the dopamine receptor. Remember, dopamine's excitatory, it boosts you up, it makes you move, it makes you active, makes you think, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so adenosine's blocking that dopamine, right? And so dopamine can't have a function at all. That's the first thing about sleep, is that sleep comes in and it gets rid of that, allows you to reduce it. That's why after, a couple of days of shit sleep, you find that your brain function is nowhere near as good as what it is when you have a really good night's sleep. Okay?
You'd be high risk of injury with that too.
Massively, you're high risk of injury, like crashes, like driving incidents, all that sort of stuff. Just got it. Yeah, massively high risk of injury. Okay, because you can't think, you can't feel anything.
Why not all the AFL players on this?
What's that?
Why aren't all the AFL players on this?
Because mate,
Sport-specific training is so behind the times.
It's so stupid. Did you play a high level sport?
Yeah,
Where'd you play? Rugby?
Yeah.
Who for?
I played uni.
What was that?
Played county level, uni level.
Yeah, nice. Nice. Over in England. Yeah, it's cool, bro. It's cool. They're stupid, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're the most useless people. But you look at why sports suck so much. They're getting paid like 60 grand a year, 50 grand a year, right?
Yeah,
That, yeah, you know what I mean? Their trainers are on absolutely nothing. What type of, if you're a really good trainer, right, you could be making 500 plus an hour if you're really, really good. That's what you should be making. And so I wouldn't sneeze at that. You know what I mean? If they came to me, I'm like, you're kidding, right? You're like, what, I'm going to coach a bunch of meatheads and you can pay me 50 grand? No way. I'm not doing that. No way in hell am I doing that. So that's why sports sucks so much. They just don't know, man. It's just
Christian Woodford's crusade.
What's that?
Christian Woodford's crusade right now.
Who's that?
He's yeah, he's one of the sports science guys down here.
Yeah, right.
He's politically correct a lot, but he's going on this tangent, calling out people and all that sort of stuff. It's actually
pretty fun to watch.
It's actually pretty fun.
Really?
But he goes on. He's like, why the fuck don't we get paid more? You know, like.
Because there's no value in it, man. Because
Yeah.
look, when you come out of PT course, or people, I don't know if any of you guys have done degrees, been to uni, everyone's like, I want to work with athletes. I'm like, why the fuck would any athlete want to work with you, bro? Like, what have you done in your life that would make you would have had S&C coaches, right?
Yeah.
And you probably would have looked at me like, bro, you're fat, you're unqualified, and you've done nothing in your whole life. You're like a washed up PE teacher. That's what you are. You know what I mean? Like, why would anyone do that? And then you've got all these idiots saying, oh, I want to be in sport. And it's like, that's why they're getting paid 50K. Because all of them want to do it. They're all desperate to work with athletes. And then the athletes are like, you don't do anything. You know what I mean? There is money in good ones. I mean, LeBron James spends $1 million a year. I've got a friend of mine he gets paid a stupid amount and to just like work with like bikini models, funnily enough, and doing that sort of stuff, just like doing all their S&C. So there is money in it in the private sector. But yeah, big tangent anyway. Why isn't this being done more often? A lot of people just simply don't know about it and don't know how to do anything. I'm the only person who I know who does this. I literally don't know anybody else who talks about this stuff at all. And that's why. So, yeah.
So you get increased performance and recovery rates and people.
Massively, man, massively. Like, I train like a fair bit and like, pro bodybuilding plus running. I've got 4 companies that I run. So I'm pretty busy and like, this is the only way I get through. Like, only way, if I was just doing like normal people stuff, I'd be screwed by now. I've already burnt out once. It was the worst thing in the world. I was like trying to sleep 4 hours a night or less. And then plus, I train to do 3 hours of cardio a day, 3 hours of weights, so 6 hours a day of weights. So 6 hours a day of training. And then on top of that too, dieting, like calorie restriction, and then also running the business. So that was like ridiculous, like stupid. And I burn out. I'm like, I'm not doing that again. So yeah, and that was with supplements too. But yeah, with this stuff, I think a key thing we need to do is going back to like the sleep stuff. We need to make sure that you're actually getting in enough so that you can clear that adenosine from binding. Otherwise, you are literally going to be drunk. They've shown that it has impairment. If you have 7 days, I think it's a week of sleeping just underneath your required amount, like 1 hour underneath your required amount is equivalent to driving drunk. It's the same thing. Like you're that inebriated. So you're pissed right now, bro. Not even in a good way.
Enjoy your tell.
Yeah. The other thing that it does is it also reduces that. There's a build-up of like, they call it toxins. It's more like metabolites, so byproducts of processes. So like, how when your engine burns fuel, you release gas, right? So your brain has the same stuff. It releases its own gas or toxin or metabolite, whatever you want to call it, right? It has its own thing of that, and it sits in the brain. It sits in the cerebrospinal fluid, okay, the fluid in the brain. And what sleep does, it actually cleans that out, so you get rid of that stuff and allows fresh stuff to come in, right? So if you're not sleeping, then that stuff's happening as well, right? So you're getting the build up, the accumulation of that. That's why you get brain fog. You know how like you probably are on autopilot a lot of the time, and you probably have that driving thing. You know when you drive and you drive past a speed camera, you're like, did I speed past that speed camera? Particularly here, because I don't even warn you, pricks. Alright? But because you would know, in New South Wales we get warnings, we get 3 warning signs before a speed camera. It's amazing. Best thing ever. Saves me so many times. But you know that feeling, bro, you're on autopilot.
Yeah.
Alright? All the time. That's it. Because you got the accumulation of all this shit, and then also the adenosine's not letting your dopamine function properly. Alright? What caffeine does, caffeine comes in and it gives you this burst of energy by cleaving off adenosine, right? So it actually gets rid of that. Bad thing though is it gives you that burst of adrenaline, okay? So it's actually doing a good thing by getting rid of that. Theoretically, if you just continually got rid of that adenosine and then cleared out your own cerebrospinal fluid, you wouldn't need to sleep, theoretically, right? You probably would. There'd be a few other things you miss out on, but yeah, you get away with it. So it's actually doing a good thing, but the adrenaline surge is not good at all, okay? So you need to make sure that you're not doing that. A good alternative, if you do have a shit night's sleep, is theacrine. Right? Theacrine or teacrine or pudding char tea. You may have heard of it. Right? You take a couple 100 milligrams of that, and then that'll actually bring you back up, and it doesn't have that surge of adrenaline. Cool?
Is that why they start putting in pre-workouts?
Yeah, pretty much. I wouldn't bother. In the pre-workouts, man, they're all shit. Don't bother, because it's all underdosed and faked. I've been ranting about this a lot lately, but one company in the US has been putting in steroids into their supplements.
I want to buy that, sorry.
I know, I was looking for it too.
Just curious. Which one?
Yes, that's for it, mate.
A couple of that. Give me that and bring Jack back.
Yeah. So with that stuff, and you can't trust what's on the label at all. They might say there's 100 milligrams of theocrine in it. Aaron Singerman, who owns Blackstone Labs and one other one. There's a fucking email of him saying the manufacturer said there's only 50 milligrams of theocrine in this. Do you want us to change the label? He's like, nah, it's alright, doesn't matter. And the label says 200 or 100. It's quarter dose. So they always drop down the amount of expensive product and increase it with fillers of the cheaper product, right? So don't buy pre-workouts, anything pre-mixed. Supplement guys are dodgy, they're shit, they're unethical and they're not regulated. So yeah. But anyway, does that help you with sleep?
Yeah.
Give you a bit of an idea to start?
Shit to say.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff, man. It's really a matter, fuck bro, I can give you so much more than that. There's way more, but it's really a matter of what do you want to take and how hard do you want to go. The way that I look at it, what was that?
It's only $117.
That's
Before
it.
GST already.
Yeah, plus GST. Bro, I'm 230.
There you go.
Got that from the goods. But yeah, so there is a fair bit, but it's how much benefit is there? And what would I spend for a good night's sleep? I'd happily spend $10 a night at least for a good night's sleep every single night. Easily, I'd happily spend $70 a week on that. I think it's the best investment ever. So yeah, and it's not hard to do either. I mean, they're pretty nice. Those little farmer gabbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They're legit.
Sleepy.
Oh, no, that's.
You won't know that. You just have one
See it
cup.
for the next
You'll just be like, yeah,
Just gonna overdose
a
it.
little bit more chill perhaps. Then because you're tired, all the rules change. So now you do nothing. You know what I mean? But yeah, with sleep as well, diet's massive. If you have constant carbs throughout the day and constant feedings, you often find you sleep poorer, right? If you have one big feeding of carbs right before bed, you'll sleep like a baby. Who's had a carb cracker? Alright, they fucking grouse up, mate. That's what I mean. Best things ever. Give your clients carb crackers before bed. If they can abstain, that's one easy way to improve compliance as well. If you just tell them, dude, you've just got to not eat carbs all day, and then right before bed, you can have the biggest bowl of Cocoa Pops of your life. This big fat bowl of Cocoa Pops every night. They're more likely to stick to it because they'll actually get excited for it. They'll know at the end of the day they've got this reward waiting here. It's really big. The other thing too is throughout the day, if they have carbs at brekkie, what happens to your blood sugar? Spikes. And then after a spike, what happens? Bang, all the way down. So what happens? What does your body give you when you have low blood sugar? Cravings. Increases ghrelin, so it makes you hungry again, so you eat again, right? And they keep going through this surge. That's why the average Australian is fat, because they're constantly hungry, right? Always hungry. Not because they're low on fuel, but because they're low on blood sugar. If you regulate their blood sugar, it's way easier. That's why when you have somebody who has very little distractions around them, the keto diet can be really, really awesome. Really, really effective for them.
I hate keto for people who are healthy.
What's that?
I hate keto for people who are healthy.
Who are healthy?
But so for cancer and epilepsy, it's meant to be really good.
Yeah.
But for people mainly for our clients, keto's not a feasible option.
Feasible in that they won't stick to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. And if you've got someone who has little lifestyle influences, outside, it's actually it's legit, man, because they don't get cravings, they're not hungry, they get to eat bacon, eggs, chicken drumsticks, steak with butter, all this sort of stuff, all this really, really good stuff. They get a much clearer brain, so they get really mentally clear. They generally get an increase in perceived intelligence and memory. The sleep gets better, they're no longer bloated. You have all this massive, massive list of lifestyle things. Remember, you're looking at it from a body composition effect. For body comp, keto sucks. I hate keto. I don't do keto. You know what I mean? I chew 1,000 grams of carbs a day. So I'm like super anti-keto for that. But if you want to have lifestyle improvement, if I want to increase longevity, if I want to be smarter, if I want to go for a brain function phase where I'm building my business, keto any day of the week, 100%. For quality of life in terms of the parameters that we were talking about just before, that's where keto's king, big time. Okay. But it sucks if you're gonna go out. Has anyone, you guys done keto before? It sucks, hey, when you go out and you just want to like eat with people and you can't do anything, you know what I mean? Like it's crap, like it's really, really crap that way. So yeah, you are right in terms of that, but if they don't have those outside distractions, they're a bit of a loner, like they've only got themselves, really good.
Yeah. So we'll go through those releases.
Let's do that, let's do some releases. We'll leave it there. I hope you got a bit of benefit out of that. Yeah, let's do some of these releases. So who wants to be released first?
Oh, sweet, good.
You're up, bro. Well, who's most fucked up? The most fucked up person. Yeah?
Well, mentally or physically?
Right, most fucked up, brother. So, here's a couple of these things with you. They're pretty cool.
What is a boxer? He's a boxer.
Yeah? Sick. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a couple of nerve things. Now, this is like super like weird with your clients. Just a few things to do. So whenever your clients are going to come in, they're all going to be really jammed up throughout their nervous system's not going to be functioning terribly well. Their breathing is going to suck and their midsection is going to suck. What functional assessments do you do? Like, not functional assessments, like mobility assessments, like all that sort of stuff. Do you do anything for movement?
Yeah, we go through like squats, deadlifts, make sure they're just the general questions, how's that feel and all that sort of stuff.
Sweet. You do hip stability, mobility, thoracic extension, stuff like that?
Not so much.
Sessions. We're doing one-on-ones.
One-on-ones?
We do.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, the induction process, we go through that.
Gotcha.
We do groups of 8 people that are like paying $55 a week. It's kind of, you know what I mean? Like they get a heap for what they pay for.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Look, this is a really easy way to just improve the thoracic extension, like straight up. So you know how most people, you guys know what thoracic extension is, by the way. Yeah. It's T-spine and actually move properly. So with that, most people's thoracic extension sucks because they're like this. You know, sitting down, even this isn't great for us. We're all in thoracic extension, thoracic flexions. We're doing this. So if you want to make sure their shoulders are like moving way better, and even through their hips, this is what you do. So stand up, brother. So how flexible are you?
Oh, not that great.
Pretty shitty. Okay, sweet. Go touch your toes. Keep your knees straight. Straight. Keep them straight. So come up a little bit. If you can't touch them, that's cool. Come up again. Straighten out your knees.
So lock them out?
Yep, lock them out.
Damn.
Alright, that's pretty good, bro. That's pretty decent. Okay, so stand up. So this is a little bit of voodoo magic you can show them. So get them standing nice and tall. Jeez, you're tight. Jesus. That's really bad. Alright, so if someone's traps are like this, that's not good. Okay, because you're like
Andy.
about to break, man. How bad
You're
is
next,
the
mate.
midsection?
You're
really
next.
bad, man. That's jacked up. That's not
I'm
good.
kind of flexing just so that. I'll relax.
Just relax. Okay, cool.
Take your jacket off so we can see you.
So remember how far down he got? He got to just like there, okay? So that's where it was. Now what I want you to do, okay, so stand there, relax, let your shoulders drop down. I want you to breathe, do a belly breath. Do you guys all know how to do diaphragmatic breathing? Yes. You're all familiar with that? You all talk about that, I assume? Beautiful. So let's go, 3 big ones. Bigger than that, dude. All the way in, and breathe out. Let's go. Another one, even bigger. Jeez, you're jacked up, man. Yeah. Let's go 2 more just for good measure. All the way out, let it go. There we go. Let's just go 1 more now. Even more, let it expand out. Does it get really tight through your ribs when you're trying to breathe like that? Through here. Yeah? Massively. Okay, we'll get to that in a sec. Go touch your toes again as far as you can.
Lock out.
Yeah, lock out. Same thing. So bang. You already got a little bit more range of motion just from doing that. So what's that? About what? 1.5 inches?
Yeah, about
1.5 inches,
5
right? From 5 diaphragmatic breaths. Okay? So that shows you that when you've got a client who's really tight, it is not because their muscles are too short. You know how people prescribe stretching? Stupid. Like honestly, absolutely stupid. Okay? We'll get onto you. We'll get back to you in a sec, man. You can sit down if you want. With that, that's the nervous system. So your diaphragmatic breathing controls your parasympathetic nervous system. If you are breathing like this with your shoulders, that's why your traps are so tight. Right? If you feel any of them, their traps are really, really tight through there. It's because they're breathing like this, and they're really, really sympathetic dominant. Okay? By getting to breathe through here, you'll actually instantly take them out of that fight or flight state and then get them into a much, much more relaxed state. This is a really, really good strategy to start off with all of your clients who've got anxiety. So all of your clients, all right? Just when they come in, first thing you do, bang, get them to breathe, all right? Get them to breathe, start off really, really chilled out and mellow, and you will see how much their personality changes. You probably feel like a little bit like tired after doing that, a little bit like dizzy after doing it, okay? That's 5 breaths, you know what I mean? You better do that for someone for like a minute, or 2 minutes, or 5 minutes. Just, what's that?
Any of my clients who do this, I'm just like, it kind of sucks.
It's good for them though, and it's super worth it because they'll just get their range of motion, their mobility will improve massively, okay? So that's one thing. I've got another, do you want to jump down? So, one thing a lot of people forget is always, jump on your back, brother. One thing a lot of people forget is that obviously the nervous system controls everything, and the nervous system actually comes through along your midsection, right? It comes out through here. So you got your parasympathetic. No, not got the sternum, but just beneath. The sternum's nasty, man. You don't do that. That's more of a lymphatic thing. So yeah, oh, that's fucked. Did you have someone do that to you? Oh, that's horrific.
How about like the solus releasing and then they like try to reach into your guts and chills?
I love that. That's the best, man. When you get someone into your psoas. I've had a needle. It's amazing. I don't do that though because you're a savage if you do that, but it's so painful. It is. Look, I completely agree, but it's just so painful. It's like, geez, you're tired too. What the fuck?
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Okay. Do you mind if everyone actually touches this so they can get a reference of what you should be like? Okay, this is what you shouldn't be like. Does anyone want to come in here and just press you down? That was just it.
Man, this speaks so well.
So this is a really tight midsection. Just press it down, right? And what I'm going to get into a second is the solar plexus. All right. So this is a congregation of nerves. Congregation is that the word? Whatever. It's a bunch of nerves. Okay. So a heap of nerves, parasympathetic, relaxation nerves, which are all in this one area. They often get really, really wide up and all fucked up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my thumb in there, so you can see that the rib cage is just along there. The sternum's just there, so you're not pressing on it. You're just directly below it, and you're just going to press in there, and you're going to breathe into it. Now, what it's going to feel like is that I'm leading you, pretty much. Is that how it feels?
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah? And then as you get further and further in, they'll actually get like an electric feeling. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm getting that, thanks.
Yeah? You're getting that. Okay. So I'm pressing it here and he's getting it down his legs, right? It's pretty weird, huh? So you just press in there and you just go really, really gently. You don't jam anything in, okay? Doing this, you can't hurt someone. You physically can't. Why? Because you're literally just putting in a little bit, a couple of kilos of pressure. That's it. So you're not at risk of injuring someone. You're not liable. There's nothing can go wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. You feel that releasing now?
Yeah.
Getting looser as you go on. So just keep breathing through it. Okay? What you'll actually notice is that they'll just start loosening off. And it'll just go down and down and down and down until it gets to the stage where it's actually like really, really soft. Alright? They'll feel really chilled out. Now, when you do this on someone, if you do it for quite a long time and you completely release them, they'll be really, really sleepy and they'll literally need to lie down. Okay? So what we use this for like pre-session is for when someone's really worked up. Okay? You do the diaphragmatic breathing, you bring them down a little bit. You do this for a minute or two, you bring them down a little bit more, then you can start their session. Okay? Because remember, you know the inverted U hypothesis about arousal? Yeah? So pretty much if you're too chilled out, then your performance is sucky. If you're in the middle, then your performance is good. And then if you're too stressed out, your performance is sucky again. Alright? You heard of athletes, you would have worked with athletes who get performance anxiety. I get it massively. You know what I mean? Massively get it. So like I get too aroused before a game. Weird way to say it, but I get too hyped up before a game of footy when I used to play. and I'd suck for the first 10 minutes, right? So it's the same thing. We want to bring them down into that optimal stage because most of your guys are just going to be way too hyper aroused, okay? So breathe out, let that sink all the way down, bro. Do you want to come and feel that again and see how much different it is to when you first felt it? So you can feel how it's like significantly looser. Remember the start, it was just like touching on bone? Yeah. It was just like really different.
Could that be because like I'm always trying to protect that when I'm boxing, or
No.
is it just because that's fun?
Fighters are always way worse. Do you want to stand up, man? Good? So fighters are always worse. And the reason why fighters are worse is because someone's about to belt the shit out of you every single time you're fighting, and you constantly know someone is about to attack you. You feel different in through your guts and through your breathing?
Yeah.
Yeah? Substantially?
I'm pretty chill.
Yeah?
No,
So-
I can.
Yeah? So with that, you can just do that for a couple of minutes. That's just to bring them down. Now, if you've got someone who's just having a fucking moment and they're like, their life is shit house and they're feeling like crap and they just can't deal with it, that's a really easy thing to do. Now, beware. Women in particular will just burst out in tears when you do that to them. Alright? Super weird. Okay? They'll just literally, it's where you hold a lot of your emotions. Right? You know how people like feel it, like in their guts, and they feel like this deep, they probably talk to you about it, they feel this like deep energy feeling, right, in here, which is just really emotional whenever something goes wrong. That's it is that area. And by pressing into there and holding it, you literally just let it dissipate, and you let it go. But with girls in particular, we find some men, less common, most of the girls are just burst into tears like, straight away, okay? So just be aware of that. Not a bad thing, because at the same time, they don't actually care either. You can do it on a gym floor, and they'll burst into tears, and they'll literally like forget they did it on the gym floor, and not even be like self-conscious about it. Okay. But that being said, don't put them in the middle. I can watch them. Okay. So maybe off to the side somewhere, and that'll be good. Cool. That's probably the best one that you can do on literally every single one of your clients. Cool. Next thing, just improving the thoracic extension in general. The main reason why people can't get into that full range of motion is because they never do it, right? People can't undergo thoracic extension because they never actually do that stuff. So you're trying to get them, do you get them to do bench press much? Bench press, shoulder press, actually any upper body work, right? If you're trying to do that, you want to get that in so you can retract the scapulas, bring them down and in, press them, all right, get everything locked in really tight. You don't have thoracic extension, you can't do that because the scapula flare out, all right? Now, one really cool thing which we do is just let you sit back into thoracic extension. Do you know the main thing that inhibits thoracic extension? No, not quite. Close. Anyone? Have a guess.
Does your breathing affect it as well?
Massively. Anyone? More specific?
So it inhibits beer abs.
Yeah, exactly. Your midsection, your abdomen, okay? And so one of the main things that you'll see is that these people are all really tight through their abdomen. They're bloated, they're distended, they're nervous, they feel like shit all the time, right? This area here is just really jammed up for them, literally. If you got one year close enough, we just literally go touch it and it'll be like a rock. It'll be like that. That's how tight it's gonna be. It's gonna be really hard for you to get into that thoracic extension, man. Really hard. That's probably why you notice your shoulders are so far forwards, right? Yeah, sure, partly because you're boxing, but not completely. So what we do is we get them on a bench. We jump on your bench, brother. We just go on this. We move it up like this. We go 30, 45 degrees. This is the easiest thing in the world. Get them to lie on it like this. You get the scapula just on the top of it, and then reach over. Okay?
We do that on the GHD.
Yeah, awesome. Do that, that one there. Yeah. Oh yeah, perfect. Stretch it out. Do the GHD, that's going to be awesome for it. Stretch it out through there and let them go through their thoracic extension. Now the reason why I like that probably is going to be a little bit better than the GHD is because you're going to be able to position the scapula right over that. So you actually have the force onto it like that, and you actually push the sternum forwards as you're stretching out that way. Does that make sense? Okay? So that's why I like that. The GHD would be cool, like a pretty good stretch, but this one would be even better. Alright? So do that. They only have to sit on there for like a minute or 2 minutes. Alright? Who wants to jump on and I'll take you through how to use it? Who's up? Any takers?
Andy.
Andy, you're on?
Crossfitter.
CrossFit.
Loves his shit.
Yeah, right. How many muscle ups do you do?
What do you bench?
Got back for about 3 years.
Do your scaps, right? Put them up on the top of this. Scapula up. There we go, brother. Good. So you go like that. Good. Arms down. Relax. Let your chin drop. Right? You feel the stretch there? You're actually pretty loose, man. It's really good. All right? Now breathe. Big, deep diaphragmatic breath. Awesome. Now what I want you to do, now that you're comfortable, bring your arms actually behind you like that, okay? Now use the weight of your hands, your arms there, to actually make yourself drop down even more. So breathe, and with every breath, you're gonna notice your arms come up slightly, and then after that, get even further down and breathe out. So to breathe in, you're gonna come up a little bit, and then after that, you're gonna go down. It's almost like a PNF type thing. Cool? And you just stretch it out all the way along through there. After you've done that, you'll notice that you can actually get your scapula stuck in way better. You'll have a massively improved control of it. And then at the same time, if you get imbalances between your left and your right, this will generally alleviate a lot of that. Cool? That's it, bro. Jump up. How's it feel? Pretty weird? What's that? Yeah? It's good. It's going to release you massively.
Can we do that? Can we do that on Oddie? Just because he is quite tight, so I think that'd be a pretty good representation of what a lot of our members will go through.
Yes, fine, man. So a little bit more, dude. I want you to feel your scabs right on the top there. A little bit more. There we go. That's sweet, bro. Jeez, you're tight, bro. Jeez, you're tight. Just go gently into it, man. Don't force it with this, okay? I don't know how you can injure yourself on this. I'm sure someone will find a way to do it, all right? Don't know how you can logically do it, but just don't force anything, okay, with any of these things. They're just here as little things to slowly release you. Now, have any of you noticed that your left shoulder is different to your right shoulder in all of your movements, okay? So with that, it's generally not because your left scapula just doesn't work. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense at all that your left scapula does not work, right?
You get a minute.
Yeah, it actually hurts.
Yeah? Where? Yeah, right. So you're really tight through your neck too, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Man, you need to get released. Like, all right, we'll do another one for you, just for you, brother. Do you have a phone roller?
Yep.
Somewhere. Thanks, bro. Back on that little scapular thing. If you have an imbalance between your left and your right, or you notice that your client's standing like this, it's most of the time the left shoulder is raised and the right shoulder is depressed. Okay? If you have that, you generally find it's because of the diaphragm. Right? If you get them breathing properly, you'll notice that suddenly, as you get them to breathe more, they'll suddenly become more even across the shoulders. Okay? So it's a really easy way to prevent injury. You see every bloke ever who tears his pec doing a bench press, he's benching like this. Alright, have you ever seen a video of that? You remember the bloke called Devon Physique?
Yep.
On Instagram. Remember him? Yeah, part of that bloke. Not a nice guy. That's why it's funny when he tore his pec.
It was a phony, wasn't he?
It was a fake one. He photoshopped his photos, scammed thousands of people.
Then his receptionist.
Yeah, his receptionist did because he fired up.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're gonna scam, you should probably pay off your receptionist and fire him. But yeah, so pretty much he did his pec. He snapped his pec. You can hear it in the video. He's benching up like this, way too heavy for what he's doing, but he had that asymmetry. You see every single person who does that, who does tear a pec, generally men, they always have that asymmetry. So if you just start breathing, you actually get that diaphragm working well, generally you'll lose that. It'll also massively help you with loose, bro. If you get loose through here, you've got way better control of it. I'm sure you probably do it already, but it's massive. Do you focus on your brace, big time? Yeah, always.
What does a big brace mean?
So you want to be able to breathe in, you want to be able to increase the volume, like the intra-abdominal volume, breathe it, and then actually reduce the volume, okay? What's called boils more. That's the thing where you have the same amount of volume, the same amount of air in a smaller space. You contract it, it increases pressure. Cool? Jump in, bro, we'll get you in here.
The GABA's taking effect.
So what we're going to do, this is like super simple, alright? Really basic. If you're just really tight and you just want to like chill out, watch TV or something like this, just jump down onto this. Actually, I'll show you first. You jump down here and just get into the soft fleshy bit of your abdomen and you just lie there. Literally that. The easy thing about this is that when you're super tight, like Odie, right? Doing that stuff's painful. Doing this, you can actually control the amount of pressure that you're putting through there. You can also control the area. Give it a nudge too.
Okay. Oh man.
Does that suck?
Yeah.
Good.
It's like the first thing that happens is just like I just flex up.
Yeah, so just relax and let them loose. So even though, like, Odie's in a sport, right, where you need to be contracted all the time, you need to have control. You can't be locked on. If you're locked on all the time in your brace, your life's gonna suck, right? That's why your life sucks at the moment, man. You know what I mean? That's the whole reason, okay? And why you're in so much pain. You need to get out of that. You need to allow it to release. Cool? So what I want you to focus on is allowing your whole body and your spine to sink into the roller. Let it get down as far as possible. And if you could, just imagine getting that roller to actually touch your spine. Now don't worry, it's not going to be able to. Right? It's not going to impinge on any organs. It's just going to release it through there.
Makes me really pee.
Yeah, man, your bladder's probably jacked up.
Yeah.
Big time. Your bladder, your whole digestive system is jacked up.
So I'm just gonna chill here.
Just chill there, man. Chill there and actually just let it sink in all the way down and just breathe as you're doing that. Getting it deeper and deeper and deeper, okay?
That's how we spend that now.
This is all good. The other thing you can do is get a kettlebell in there. Alright? So if you're doing it for yourself,
Can we see that?
get a kettlebell. Yeah, I'll do it. I love the kettlebell. What
Just
do you got?
Right behind you.
show it on Oddie.
Got a smaller, like, cast iron ones.
That's it. I normally do it with 20. Alright, so if you're more sensitive, you start with something which is like lighter. What you do? Sorry? Yeah.
Oh wait, you're actually gonna chop that off.
I'll do it. I won't do it. You'll be in pain. Alright, so what you do is you get down on your back, grab the kettlebell, and just drop it in there. So this is like you doing that solar plexus one for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's the same thing. It's all just pressure. Now I had a physio rag on me for doing this. He said, oh, it's just going to damage your intestines. I'm like, what the fuck do you think a massage is? It's just pressure. Okay, so if anyone rags on you and says it's stupid, it's like, it is literally like using a metal object for a massage. It just saves you $70 an hour. Cool? And can't give you a happy ending. But yeah, so that's what you do. You literally just like leave it there and you just let it sink in, okay? And it shouldn't hurt. If it hurts,
Plus.
right? If it hurts, then you're doing it right. You want to give it a go, Andy? Yeah. See how it feels?
How you going, Oddie?
Yeah.
I really need to pee now.
You got anything for the hip flexors?
The hip flexors, this.
This
you
is
actually notice that by doing this, hip flexors release.
How about,
hip flexors are very much like a stress-driven muscle. The reason why I say that is because they're involved in athlete position. So you got in there? How's that feel? Pretty sweet. You're super loose with it.
Careful,
It's
Cat.
awesome. So what you want to do is you want to move it around to you find
much
areas
gabba.
which aren't comfortable.
Gabba,
So
gabba.
Get in there, get in around your diaphragm. That's probably going to be the best area for you. Alright? So we'll do the side.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Oddie?
Yeah? Don't feel anything at all? Gotcha. Give me a look. You're super loose with your diaphragm, man. That's really good. How's that?
Sure, it's not the same one.
Because you can see, like, I can actually get my fingers, like, right underneath your ribcage. That's really good, man. That's, like, the best one I think I've ever seen, huh? You nailed it, right? You nailed it. So with you, this isn't going to do much because you simply don't need anything.
Okay.
Like, you literally will not need anything at all. But with that, if you do get, like, jammed up or tight at all, you just let that in there, you just let it sit. You just let it sink in there, and you just breathe, and you just chill out, okay? When you're relaxing, it'll be crazy how quick it'll just start dissipating, like the pain and all that. Yeah, man, you got an awesome, like, midsection, eh? Like, it's really, really super loose, so whatever you're doing is working. So that's bang on, man. But yeah, those are probably the easiest ones that you can implement and get your clients to do. So if you do that at home, like it's like just the best thing ever. I love that stuff. I get really tight through here, get really jammed up. I'm a more highly strung guy. So yeah, I get really jammed up through there. Anyone who is just more inherently highly strung, they will suffer with that. And so you just use that the kettlebell as much as you can.
What about like L5 compression or lower back? You got any tips for that, or is it just general stuff?
Release the midsection.
Yeah.
Compression. Why? What's happening? Yeah. Right.
Bad posture, hunching over.
I'd say
tight
say
hips.
pretty much open up
Yep.
as much as you can.
Back extensions.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the two things that we really suck at, we constantly have our spines flexed, and then also we can't get into external rotation. They're the two things. The other one, which is really, really super easy, is you stand up tall, all right? So you stand up as tall as you can, and open your arms out, right? So if you feel like a penis, then you're doing it right, okay? So you stand up, imagine someone's pulling you up, really, really upright, twist your shoulders out. Not just your elbows, but twist your shoulders out too, and chest up. And literally just stand or walk around like this to get used to it. You can get them doing laps if you want to do it for a laugh, all right? But you get them to stand up just like this. How you girls going there? How's it feel? Weird?
I'm just like shove it down.
I'm trying to do a series release on that.
Yeah, you can. You can do it with the psoas, for the psoas as well. Let it in there. That was actually awesome. How's your psoas? Jammed up?
I guess so.
Yeah. So that's what you can do for that as well. Another one, okay, I guess another one that we should probably go over just quickly is before they're about to squat. Alright? A really, really easy one for before they're about to squat or deadlift or do anything is drop right down into a full squat, okay? And then curl. Get a barbell and just get them doing curls. Yeah? You do that? Awesome. Yeah, and raises like that? Yeah, wicked. So I don't do raises, I just do the curls straight away just because it opens up your hips so much. It's like the best thing ever when you're about to get into it.
What's the point of the curl though?
The rocking movement. And also you stop thinking about how much that fucking hurts. It's really, really painful. Sitting in there and then stretching out your hips is really gnarly. Really, really gnarly, particularly if you've got really poor external rotation, right? So just by rocking it, it just moves it and it gradually, literally, movement taking your mind off it. And also because you get a filthy pump. Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. That's it. That's pretty much everything I think we need to go over because we've covered like a heap. Like there's a lot in that. So I hope that that's helped you out. Is there anything that you guys want to go over before we wrap this up?
I just had a question around sleep.
Yeah.
Is there anything on sleep and left umbrella?
Right. I've never looked into that specifically. You will get, lack of sleep will make you more insulin resistant, which will have a change in your blood sugar levels, which will change your ghrelin. Because when your blood sugar levels go down, you will get more hungry. In terms of, leptin, I can't think of any correlation, but it definitely does slow down protein synthesis, which is going to mean you're going to have a reduction in expenditure. Maybe. I doubt, in terms of I think a better way of looking at it would be rather than isolating those two hormones, looking at what it does in the system. Will it slow down fat loss and shit? Yes. Will it increase cravings and shit? Yes, definitely.
So the real question is like, because people might find you don't sleep well, but if they're thin eyes, when they sleep well, they tend to better.
Yeah. The best thing you can do for those ones is get them on berberine and chromium picolinate. That's going to regulate their sugar levels. Berberine, and chromium picolinate. That's going to regulate them the best. In terms of looking at hormones, people love to look at hormones and talk about them because you sound smart, you feel good. Like, yeah, I said a smart word. It doesn't do anything though. Unless you can supplement a hormone, it doesn't matter. So if you talk about in elderly men having low testosterone, you can go look into that, but unless you're going to get them to take testosterone, there's no point looking at it. You know what I mean? Or have a way to actually increase that, like directly. So with hormones, it's like, okay, cool. You can actually supplement leptin. You can supplement it, but you're not going to. Then your client's going to take leptin injections every day, twice a day. You know what I mean? So like, look at the overall goal. But yeah, definitely, man. There is a.
Hey man, leave her alone.
If she needs to eat.
Ghrelin. You can get ghrelin. You can definitely. Why? So she's just really stressed out and anxious.
Oh, she seems alright.
Yeah. She can't eat. They've got no hunger. Generally, comes back to stress. Because what happens is the stomach actually shrinks, right? So it's full more often.
Yeah.
That's it. Cool.
Yeah.
Epic. Anything else? No?
Pretty happy with that. Gives them enough to take away.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully you get 5 or 10 things out of that. Yeah. If you need anything, let Brad know. I'm happy to run it. You can come and that's cool. Alright? Unreal. Thank you very much for your time, guys. Cheers.
Beautiful.